Hi, I'm Patu from freefincal, and today let's talk about a set of questions that you should ask about your financial life and take action on them. This is a quote that allows think like a person of action, act like a person of thought. So everything that we discuss about money management must result in an action. If there is not going to be any action, then there's no need to talk about it. So, for example, Karvy broking has been banned by SEBI. So, there's a lot of fear about whether it will affect Karvy RTA. And of course, there's a lot of the fear is natural, but then the moment we realize that these two are independent, there's nothing to worry. You stop worrying and go do something else. So you don't keep worrying about it. And waste time about it. There are so many things about personal finance. Just a random example. I said that because I talked about it in the latest post today. All right, so let's do this. The reason I'm doing that is December is around the corner. December is my favorite month because it's a great place to be, a great time to be in at Chennai. Sorry, because that's when you don't feel the summer is a little less. We got summer for about 10 months in Chennai, but then in January and December and January we have a little less sun. So it's a good time to be in, and it's also a good time to be in because my personal financial audit is coming up this year. I think I will be talking about the audit first at the Bangalore meet, and then we will post it here. So in my audits, I have done a last year's audit video is available. You can see that. So in my audits, I talk about, I ask some of these questions. Of course, some questions I've already gone past, but I don't do that. But for a person who is starting to manage their money for the first time, I think these are good questions to ask. Please watch this video with your wife or husband or partner and work on it together. So this is a personal finance checklist. Oops. Okay, that's just the power fluctuation. I hope. Yeah. So this is the personal finance checklist. You can download this. I'll leave the link in the description box. Also try to add it on the top. So you can, this was done a couple of years ago, and I used to distribute this as a PDF file, as a printed file, and also as a PDF if I go to corporate presentations and to some places wherever they've shown the interest and I believe that is appropriate, I have given this file. You can also download it from here. So this basically is a three-part checklist. Act 1, preparation for absolute newbies. Act 2 is action for people who have done the basics and I just want to get to the next stage. And then people who have started investing and who want to manage their portfolio. The third act, which is the review. So we will talk about this. I will not read out every question, but I'll offer some commentary here and there. So the first question is my life adequately insured? Will my family be able to handle their immediate short-term and long-term goals in my absence? People take 1 crore policies randomly, but I think they must use an insurance calculator and actually do some little bit of calculations to actually see how much the family would need, how much of a person's of a breadwinner's income should be replaced in terms of a lump sum. It can be less than a crore, more than a crore, it depends, but please do that. Have I discussed with my spouse or nominee how the term insurance amount should be utilized in my absence? This is important. Getting a term insurance alone is not enough. You have to tell them what to do because you may be the person who is doing most of the money management, but then if you suddenly die and the money comes, let's say that 1 crore, 1.5 crore goes to your spouse or nominee, how should they handle it? Because then they may ask some agent, mutual fund or insurance agent, and that portfolio will be completely crap and it will be too much risky. So you must tell them how to do it, or you can say this person. Who's a SEBI registered fee only advisor I trust, you can go to him and so on. Or you can start the discussion with a SEBI registered advisor right away, investment advisor right away, so that the transition is smooth. So, however, that's something that you have to do. Do we have enough medical insurance for medical expenses? This is a very long topic. Simple question is not just yes or no, but you have to think more about the needs and buy a suitable policy. I have several videos on this. I have a spreadsheet, I have a PDF file, everything done by the community, so you can. How ready am I to handle emergency expenses? You need to think more than just the 6 month or 12-month expenses that these financial planners talk about. I think you need to add money regularly to your emergency fund, whether you use it or not. And you should also think having 1 year is a good 1 year's expenses is a good estimate, but you must also recognize even if you have cashless expenses, there will be non-medical expenses that you have to pay for, etc., etc. I have a video on that. You can watch the reassembled CDs or the reassembled PDF file for that. How capable am I of replenishing my emergency fund if it gets depleted? That's the reason why I said keep adding 10%, 5% to your emergency fund regularly. Just set up an SIP. For these kind of things, SIP will work because you will not forget to do it. It's a small amount, it doesn't matter. It'll work perfectly. Do I know what my net worth is? This is something that you have to do as a complete beginner. You need to know your assets, you need to know your liabilities, you need to know how much money you actually have and how much money you're actually going to give away to somebody else. This is important because you may think this is trivial, but when you do it for the first time, it will teach you how to, position yourself and orient yourself. My brother-in-law, for example, did not know he was a crorepati and actually did not know he was a crorepati until I actually looked at his assets and told him so. He had never looked at it. He had never taken that kind of status seriously or never looked. He just knew, okay, I'm having enough money, it's fine. So you must have a look at it. It helps. So have I listed all my goals, short-term goals, less than 5 years, 5 to 10 years, more than 10 years? What am I going to do for each of those goals is the next big question. Do I know the approximate current cost for this goal? What, for example, what is the cost of a undergraduate education, postgraduate education? What is the current cost of the car that I want, the dream vacation that I want, the dream DSLR that I want, whatever, anything. It can be anything, but you should have done that homework. And while you are investing, a new model may come, and then you want to switch to that model. So you must be able to change the goalpost and so on. What is asset allocation? How do I know what is the right asset allocation for my goal? So these are things that you need to answer. You need to learn. I'm not providing you the answers here. I have plenty of material for each of these. You have to dig around, and I'm just saying these are the questions. If you systematically answer this, I pretty much guarantee you can set your life on autopilot. um, how much should I save, how much should I invest, how to do it, etc., etc. You can see how much can I invest. That is, there's a difference between how much I need to save and invest and how much can I invest and save. So that difference, you may need to invest and save, let's say 50,000 a month, but you can only save 25,000 a month. How can I bridge this gap? By changing my expectations, changing inputs reasonably. This is the job of a financial planner. The very, very important job of a financial planner. But if you want to be a DIY, you have to learn to do it yourself. So that's what I said. If there is a shortfall, how much am I going to manage it? Everything must be discussed. Please do not do anything on your own. Everything must be written down. Let's not think about bad things like death and so on. Tomorrow, let's say you get a big promotion and you become so busy that you can't manage the money like you did today. Then your spouse should be effortlessly, seamlessly able to step in and do what you are doing in the way that you would prefer to do it and so on. But then you should talk about this together at every stage. It helps. Force them to do it. Threaten them. There's no other way. Nothing works for me. That's a different matter. I am a failure in this aspect. I'm doing my best, but I'm still trying, but you have to do it. So now comes the action, the investments. Do I know what category of investments, not the actual mutual funds? Forget about that. What category of products or instruments I'm going to invest? Is my portfolio diversified enough within asset classes, across asset classes? Have I begun investments as per the asset allocation I have in mind? Many people don't do this. Am I tracking my investments? Have I written a will? There are so many things. Of course, this is not exhaustive list, but some of the things that I have. Then comes the review. And this review, this is the kind of thing that I want to talk about at the Bangalore meet and the Chennai meet. Do I know the net XIRR of my debt investment and equity investment separately and of the portfolio? What is the current actual value? When I started investing, I started investing for my son 10 years ago, and at that time the UG cost would have been something. Today it's something, but today he's only in the fourth standard. So I have to change my goal. So that's what I mean. You have to keep track of it, and especially for retirement, don't worry about returns and do I have 50 crores? I'm sorry, 50 lakhs, 25 lakhs. Doesn't all these things numbers don't matter. What matters is if I quit my job today, how long can I survive and get an inflation protected income? Let us say it is 2 years. You can survive for 2 years. After 1 year, in December 2020, when you look at it, that 2 years must be, if you're lucky, 3 years, at least 2.5, but it should increase. It should increase little by little, little by little, little by little. And by the time you are 50 and when you want to retire and so on, that number should be next 30 years, 35 years. You should be able to survive next 30 or 35 years, get an inflation protected income from that corpus. That is the right way to track the growth of your, because so many people, I made an Excel sheet for this, for the Bangalore talk. We will, maybe down the line I will talk about it. So many people want to know what should be my net worth at this stage in life. What should be my net worth? How much money should I have at that stage in life? These numbers don't matter because a lot of things matter. Personal lifestyle, expenses, how much you put in, how much you're earning. So many factors that the only quantitative way to do it is this way, in my opinion, and so on. So those are the kind of questions that you would ask. You can be at different stages. You can be in the preparation stage, you can be in the action stage, you can be in the review stage. Don't try to do everything at the same time. If you're in the review stage, you can go back and check the other two stages. If you're in the action stage, you can go back and check the preparation stage. But if you're in the preparation stage, the initial newbie stage, just stick to that alone, complete it, and then go to the next two stages. So that's what I have to say. You can download the personal finance checklist. Also, I have written 2 posts today. Let me see if I can get that up. Yeah, so will the SEBI ban on Karvy broking affect mutual funds? No, as an RTA may not be, but I'm not sure how many AMCs have an account with Karvy broking. Karvy broking is within the top 10 brokers in India, so that can be a problem. It's one of the biggest frauds. Then I also updated last month's most popular and least popular stocks held by mutual funds. You can have a look at that as well. Catch up on the week's previous posts. Vinay Rai had written and shared his reader story, how I turned my life around, charted my money course. Have a look at that. Any other posts, explore that. Catch you later.